Most people never consider that they might actually be Satan's servants instead of the Most High's servants. For the most part, people feel pretty good about who they are, and they think that they are better than average, or at least they think that they are better than those whom they deem as being evil. But the truth of the matter is, we are either serving our Creator or we are serving Satan. There is no way around this fact. People want to quote verses like Luke 9:50, where Luke records Yeshua saying, "Forbid him not," referring to one who was not with them, who was casting out demons in his name. Luke says that Yeshua said, "Because if they are not against us, then they are for us." This is a lie, and it is just one of the many false teachings that Luke and Mark brought forth. Mark recorded the same event as well. Luke and Mark were not eyewitnesses, and they were followers of the abomination of desolation, Saul of Tarsus. A true eyewitness, Matthew, recorded Yeshua saying in Matthew 12, verse 30, "He that is not with me is against me, and he that does not gather with me scatters." It is Satan's purpose to divide and to scatter or to disperse the truth. If you are not in agreement with Yeshua, then you are against him, and you are against his Father. If you are not gathering with him, you are scattering, and you are dispersing the truth. And you are serving your father, the devil. One thing that Satan does is he gets his followers to want to do their own thing. Go do a different path. He gets them to come to their Creator on their own terms and not on his terms. I want to point out that almost no one knows that they are serving Satan. This should be obvious to any of you. If you look at Islam, obviously people in Islam, most people in Christianity know that they are serving Satan, and they think vice versa and such, so you shouldn't marvel at that. There are some who openly confess that they are devil worshippers, but the overwhelming majority of his followers think that they are following the Most High. They're just deceived. They think that they are serving him, but in reality they are serving their father, the devil, because they are on one of Satan's many detours, one of his false paths. Yesterday I spoke of the Sadducees and the Pharisees and the scribes. They thought that they were following their Elohim, and they were very zealous about their religion, and they kept the commandments, yet Yeshua plainly told them that they were of their father, the devil. What was his reasoning for telling them this? In John chapter 8, verses 43 through 45, "Why do you not understand my speech?" he says. "Is it because you cannot hear my word," or my logos, which was his father's logos? "You are of your father the devil, and you do the desire of your father. He was a murderer from the beginning, and he abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks of his own, because he is a liar, and the father of it. Because I tell you the truth, you do not believe me." And I interject too about the murderer part. If anything that's a false path leads to the lake of fire. So if any of you are leading somebody to a different path, you're a murderer. It's a spirit of murder. It's like if you're not teaching your children the way they should go, you are guilty of possibly leading them to the lake of fire if they don't turn when they get out of your direction. And that is the spirit of murder. Yeshua tells us in John 17:17 that his father's logos is the truth. His word or his logos had no place in them. Therefore, they were of their father the devil. And I've spoken in a lot of these videos why I use the Greek word logos, but it's basically what his word defines. It defines his character, his righteousness. Elohim was not their father. If he was, they would have heard him and they would have followed him because he was his father's logos in the flesh. Instead, they went their own way and made a religion that is called Judaism today, and they say that they serve him through this religion. They lie against the truth and destroy it or murder it, and this is Satan's goal. How much more so does the false religion of Christianity do this today by blaspheming his logos in even a greater manner by doing away with that which he gave us to perfect us, which is his Torah. And they trample his son's blood underfoot by denying why he shed it. They are serving Satan in doing so, no matter what they want to believe or say. Our Creator is not interested in what any of you think is true. His word is true. Anyone who is leading another from his truth is serving Satan. And anyone who is on another path other than the true path is worshiping Satan, no matter if they claim to be worshiping the Most High or not. Yesterday I spoke on how there is an emerging group of so-called commandment keepers who think that they are serving him, but they are refusing to join in with what he is doing, what he's restoring. They're off doing their own thing. How is this serving him? It just shows the rebelliousness of their hearts, actually. Some of them are even warning others of his coming judgment, but they do not have a clue about the truth that would set them free, so what good is it for them to warn them if they are pointing them to a make-believe truth? A counterfeit truth is not going to deliver them, just as make-believe blood is not going to cleanse them. People want to reinvent the wheel so that they can feel important instead of just believing their Creator and hearkening to his instructions. I have news for any of you doing this. You are not going to come up with a better way than your Creator. This is what Saul of Tarsus thought he did. His more excellent way. This is what Satan's servants do. They try to come up with a more excellent way. The most powerful example of this is the abomination of Saul of Tarsus and his teachings. There is a common thread among Satan's servants. They always want to tweak what their Creator is purposing, and they all come in their own name doing their own thing. Satan is clever enough to mix in some truth with the lies that he gives them. This is how he deceives. And they become wise in their understanding, and then they think that they have something to offer their Creator apart from his instructions. In the example of the modern day Pharisees and Sadducees that I spoke of yesterday, they are teaching obedience to the commandments for obedience sake. But there is much more to obeying our Creator than this. I keep saying in these videos that we were created to be made in his image and that he gave us his Torah as a vehicle to accomplish this. It has actually been insinuating that I'm adding to the Torah for saying this. This is because these accusers do not have my Father's 7 spirits guiding them, so they do not know what his word says. His logos has no place in them because they refuse it and they define their righteousness on their own terms. He gave us his commandments to test us and to prove us, to see if we would follow him and love his ways. But there is more to their design. He also gave them so that we would know his name. His name is who he is. It is his righteousness. We cannot become that which we do not know. His righteousness is his character that his word defines. As I said, it's what it's referred to with that Greek word I use, the logos. It is the same name that we are commanded to bear. How can any of us bear a name that we do not know? The answer is we cannot. I have contrasted this in other videos with bearing Satan's name. We bear either one or the other. We either bear the name of our Creator in our foreheads and in our right hand, or we bear the name of Satan in our foreheads and in our right hand. Our Creator's name is his righteousness, and Satan's name is rebellion to that righteousness. In our forehead means that what we think and what we believe, and in our right hand refers to what we practice or what we live. If we are living our own righteousness apart from our Creator's righteousness, we simply bear Satan's name in our forehead and in our right hands. Yeshua taught that we must keep the commandments, and he taught why we must keep them. He said that we are to become at one with him and at one with his Father, in total agreement as they were with each other. He said that he is the vine and his Father, and he is his Father's logos. If we abide in him or in his logos, then they abide in us. And his Father, the vine dresser, molds us and prunes us until we are at one with him and his Son. This is also basic, yet mankind has refused this and made themselves the vine dresser, and in doing so, they have made themselves to be the branches of a different vine or branches of a different logos. All counterfeit vines are the logos of Satan, and his branches serve him. Jeremiah 8, we read, verse 7, "Yes, the stork in heaven knows her appointed times, and the turtle and the crane and the swallow observe the time of their coming. But my people do not know Yahweh's judgment. How do you say we are wise, and Yahweh's Torah is with us? Lo, certainly he made it in vain, and the pen of the scribes is in vain. And the wise men are ashamed, and they are caught in confusion. Behold, they have rejected Yahweh's word, and what wisdom is in them?" Jeremiah is prophesying Yahweh, saying that the people do not know his righteous judgment, and he tells us why. He is telling us that they thought themselves to be wise because they had his Torah, but that its purpose was just to keep it. He is prophesying against men for making his commandments their religion. He is prophesying against them for not letting his Torah teach them his righteous judgment. This is why Yeshua included that they had omitted judgment as one of the weightier matters of the Torah that they had omitted. And verse 9 here says that this happened because they rejected Yahweh's word. Therefore, there was no wisdom in them. Isaiah tells us that Yahweh gave us his word to accomplish his purpose. His purpose was to build a family with his righteous character. Most of you do not want his righteousness. Why not? Why don't you want his wisdom? Why is it that you want the wisdom and the righteousness that comes from self instead? If it is from self, I can guarantee you that the source is Satan. Why is it that you want to be in agreement with Satan and not your Creator? This is what you are choosing to do if you're not yielding to why you were created. You are choosing to serve and to worship Satan's name. You can lie to yourself all that you want, but this will not change the fact that you are either serving your Creator or you are serving the adversary. It does not matter what you have made yourself to believe or what you think. You're either in agreement with what our Creator is doing, or you're fighting against what He is doing. If you're fighting against Him, you are of your father the devil, even if your fight is just sitting on the fence. As I said yesterday, if you are denying what He has given me to speak, that you are denying His word. I said this because it is His word that testifies that He has sent me. And if He has sent me, then He has given me what to speak. Therefore, you are denying His very own words. There is no way that any of you who are sitting on the fence can get around this. How will you explain it to Him why you did not warn the people of His coming wrath? What will you say to Him? Will you have the courage to tell Him that you just could not believe His word? Maybe you will say to Him, oops, sorry, I was too big of a coward to step forward in your name. Well, it just so happens in Revelations 21:8, we're told that but the faithless and the disbelieving and the abominable and the murderers and fornicators and sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars will have their place in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. He is categorizing those who fear to believe Him or lack faith, and those who do not believe Him with the murderers and the fornicators and such. Do you think that by not believing His sign that He has sent forth, and by not acting on it, that you are believing Him? You lie to yourself if you do. You can make your excuses however you want. I have even witnessed people lying against the truth just so that they do not have to step forward and cry out to warn people that His witness against mankind is on the scene. Shame on all of you who are being cowards by not sounding the alarm and telling them that His witness has stepped forward. Shame on all of you who have lied against His witness, just so that you do not have to join in with Him in what He is restoring, in what your Creator is restoring. You are serving Satan in doing so. The lies continue to go out in this dark world while the truth and the light remain buried under a bushel. Are you afraid of being made fun of? Or are you afraid of being scoffed at? Or are you just afraid of being wrong? Maybe you are saying, what happens if this guy is wrong and he is not the witness? I ask you to ask yourself the same question that I ask myself when I consider this. How could this be? I look at all of the proof that He has given us in His Word. I look at the perfect match that the works that He has given me to do are to His Word. Has anyone else ever brought forth a work like this that matches the job description of the two witnesses? Have you ever seen such a work? I have not, and I know that I cannot be the source of what He has given. When you consider that the two witnesses would be authorized to turn the water into blood, can you deny that this is not what has happened through me and through His Son? I cannot. The evidence is overwhelming. When He showed me this, I thought surely, as simple as it is, that there has to have been many who have seen this. It is so black and white, yet not one has ever spoken of it or taught it or written of it. How could this be if it was not hidden until now by our Creator? It is impossible to refute that the water that we are baptized in is a symbol of Yeshua's blood, and it was right before our eyes, yet not one could see it. This is because it was reserved until now for this purpose, to identify who his witnesses are. That's why he said that they will be authorized to turn the water into blood. I have had to act on this conviction because woe to me to deny his proof. And this was long before the undeniable proof that he has set forth with the Ezekiel 24 sign going out through me. I have asked in many of these videos, is it possible that he would allow for an impostor to bring forth his sign after he said that when this sign goes forth, that we can know that it is him? Woe to any of you who are rejecting his signs that he's giving us. Your denying his word will be a witness against you. How will you stand before him and tell him that you are sorry? Those of you listening to these videos who are not crying out to others and are not doing everything that you can to warn the people and are not pleading with them to turn from their ways are unbelieving, no matter how you stack it up. And he classifies the unbelieving in with the rest of the abominable who will be thrown into the lake of fire. You can say whatever you want to argue that you are not unbelieving, but the fact remains that you will be found in this group. You might say that you believe everything that I have spoken except the part about the date of Yeshua's return. Just ask yourself how this could be. How could so much be given to me, including all of the prophecies being fulfilled about being the witness, yet I have the date wrong? How could this be possible? And yes, if you do set out to warn the people, I can guarantee you that most will scoff at you and ridicule you. So what? What if just one turns to the truth that is delivered and eventually receives eternal life in his family from your endeavors? Wouldn't that be enough to take a little bit of scoffing and ridiculing? And what would you be telling them to do anyway? Would you be telling them to disobey their Creator, or would you be telling them that they should have what you should have been telling them all along anyway, to turn to him to be made in his image? And ask yourself who you are serving by not joining in with your Creator in doing so. Are you serving the adversary or the Creator and his Son? You cannot have it both ways. He is not looking for fence sitters to be in his family. He's clear on this. Yeshua said that the forceful enter into the kingdom, and they lay siege to it. And what about you who are listening to what he is giving and you are believing it, but instead of mirroring what he is restoring, you are still trying to put forth your own message? Is this serving him? Telling him you got a more excellent message than what he's sending out? If it is coming from him, do you think what I'm giving, do you think that you can serve him better by promoting your own 2 cents worth, or by promoting the ideas that have come from others? If you have listened to the videos that are on this site and you can deny that this is from him, this is certainly your choice. I cannot. I have to believe his word. The evidence is overwhelming. The works that he sent me to do testify it to it. The enemy's servants are very busy setting up their counterfeits. The false prophets and the false messiahs are abounding, and they are growing. And this was certainly prophesied to happen. And the enemy also has many servants on YouTube and others who are preaching from his pulpits who are seeking to draw those who might be coming to the light astray. Some of these servants are trying to expose me as false when they are really doing the work of their father, the devil, by doing so. Yet their efforts go unchallenged by most of you. Some of you are even still watching these people's videos and such. When the dust settles, all that will remain standing is the truth. I suggest that you be found standing with it now so that you can be found standing with it when the dust settles. If you think that you can reject his word and still be found in his favor, you certainly have a different set of instructions than I'm reading. He commanded us to not cover our lips when he gave the Ezekiel 24 sign. He said that their blood will be on our hands if we do not warn them. It is not our job to convince them, but it is our job to warn them. If you refuse to do so, who do you serve? And for those of you doing your own thing, teaching your own truth, who do you serve? I know who I serve, and I will keep serving him because I believe him. Does his logos or his truth have a place in you? Or are you of your father the devil? There is no middle ground. You're either for him or you are against him.